let's get some of the lads together. Let's have a go, yeah? Okay, you're right. Go on, fellas. Get around the piano. Let's have a good go. Come on, then. You ready? Come on, you lot. Go on, then.
Oh, 'tis our delight for the red and white. The Imps are here to stay. Oh, 'tis our delight for the red and white. The Imps are here to stay. Lincoln City are the team, the Reds is their name. Stinsel Bank is their home ground and football is their game. So come and cheer them on, you lads, support them all the way. Oh, 'tis our delight for the red and white. The Imps are here to stay. Oh, 'tis our delight.
Morning all. When's the away kit going to be launched? When's the away kit going to be launched? Thank God it's finally been launched. That's one set of incessant tweets that now we don't have to read anymore, isn't it? Just going to have to keep reading Tyler Walker tweets until the window closes, but I suppose I can deal with one annoying set rather than two. Away kit's been launched. Yay! So it's good news. I kind of wanted to do a little video on it for two reasons. One, because it's a beautiful morning. I don't have my mum to call. I don't have Pete to call. I spoke to both of those this week. So I think, why not dedicate some time to you beautiful people? And secondly, this kit's probably the one I've been most excited about since I've been involved in designing the kits, or since I've kind of had an inkling of what one's going to look like. And don't get me wrong, when I say I've been involved in designing the kits, it's been on a committee that's kind of approved ideas or put ideas forward and that sort of thing. And then we tend to get drawings come back. This kit, I remember being in the meeting, and hopefully I'm not breaking any sort of code or anything like that, but I remember being in the meeting and we were presented with some options, and it was one of those situations where they went option 1 and put it on the screen, and everyone just went, yep, that's it, that's the one. Bear in mind, it didn't have the sponsor on it. We didn't know who was going to sponsor at the time, so it was just kind of that black and charcoal with the red little sort of narrow red pinstripe, and for me it was just like it fitted my colours. I've kind of always liked black and red for some reason. I remember I owned in about '96. I owned a Blackburn Rovers away shirt. It was McEwen's black and red stripes. I've always liked that. I always liked Milan kits. I've always thought like a narrow red pinstripe kind of accentuates and kind of stands out. It feels like I don't know, like it kind of brings the black to life. So a plain black kit, I think, can sometimes be boring. This feels like a plain black kit, but with just something bringing it to life. Black on red, brilliant. So I remember seeing it in the picture and thinking, I can't wait to see this in the flesh. But at that stage, you see, you don't get to as part of the kind of when you're on the kit committee, you approve the design or you give your thoughts on the design, and it goes off, and then that's it. You don't see anything else. And I've been lucky enough, I think, to be involved kind of on the kit committee 2 years. I won't be again. I'm not on the sports board anymore, so I won't be involved in that this coming season. And I think this is the best kit of the 4 that have, or the 5, because there was the away kit as well, the third kit as well, the 5 that have kind of come through under our eyes. I'm not sure where we're going with the third kit this year. I think we did have a look at some designs, so there's an idea. This one was the one that really stood out for me. So I've done a screenshot of it. So this is the kit. Obviously it's black and red, predominantly black. From where I'm stood now out in the sunshine, it looks completely black, but it's got that narrow strip of red light going down it. It reminds me of kind of a city lit up at night. Just, do you know what I mean? Like a little strip of light in an expanse of dark. There's been some complaints about, or 1 or 2 comments, I won't call them complaints. There's been some comments about the sponsor and how a sponsor ruins a shirt. And it's like I've said to on Twitter this morning, and to a couple of people who I've spoken to, a sponsor defines a shirt, doesn't it? And it's all well and good saying sponsorless shirts are the way forward, but actually sponsorless shirts always, in my eyes, almost decharacterize the shirt for a future generation. So in the days before shirt sponsors, it wasn't so bad, because the replica shirt was the shirt that the team wore. I get that. And the first shirt I bought didn't have a sponsor on it. It should have been Fawcett and Thorn. It was the 1986-87 or 87-88 season. Didn't have a sponsor on it. But going forward from that, if the shirt doesn't have a sponsor, but the team play in a sponsor, for me, you've not got a replica shirt. You've not got the shirt that the team are playing in. And kind of last season shirts, like it was a great shirt, and it was a nicer one to wear from a kind of a going out or a foot. I don't go out in football shirts, but going to play five-a-side or something. It was a nice shirt to wear. There was no sponsor. You got the full kind of blast of the design. Brilliant. I get that. But for me, having been involved in Sunday League football, kids level, choosing kits and stuff like that, I always think that they feel a little bit like a template kit when they don't have a sponsor on. And there's a classic example. In the early 90s, we used to go to a lot of these kind of five-a-sides, like at Netlerm and Rustons and stuff like that. There was always a shirt stall there. Used to be the one thing I'd bug my parents for, but they never had sponsors on them. And I got a Luton Town one in about 91, 92, I think it was. But I always just thought it was a hooky shirt. Genuinely just thought it was a hooky shirt because it didn't have the sponsor on it, so it wasn't a replica shirt. It's literally this last year I've realised that was Luton's shirt that season, and it was released without a sponsor. But it felt like one of those kind of cheap knockoffs that you get rather than the actual shirt. And when we're talking about shirts from the past, how many times do you fall into the trap saying, you remember that shirt? Which shirt was that? The one with Flindell's sponsor, or the one with the year that Go-Kart sponsors, or something along those lines? It times the shirt. It gives you a point of reference rather than saying, no, you remember that really nice Link shirt? Which one? Oh, it was red and white stripes. They're all red and white stripes. So the sponsor kind of nails it a little bit, nails it down to a season and to a time and to an era. And from a design point of view, from a fashion point of view, I get that a sponsor can take away from the ideas that have gone into designing the shirt. But then I suppose it depends what you use a football shirt for, doesn't it? If you are wearing a football shirt as a fashion statement, as something to choose and go, I'm wearing this because it looks good with jeans and it picks out my eyes or whatever, then a sponsor might ruin it. If you're taking a sponsor as, I'm a Lincoln City fan and I want to wear the Lincoln City shirt, the shirt that they're wearing while they're playing away, surely you want the sponsor, you want the overall thing. I was actually considering getting one of the sponsors from last season printed on my shirt from last season, just to give it some authenticity. And I've actually got a shirt from, it was a really interesting present actually. I think it was a 40th birthday present, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was from Warren Ward. And it was the 2006-07 season. So I think it was All Sport, wasn't it? It was the Jamie Forrester and Mark Stallard season. But with no sponsor. And it's a nice shirt. It isn't the replica shirt. And it's something that kind of is a unique piece of memorabilia in itself. If I wanted the 2006 and 7 season shirt, which I had, you would have gone and bought that. And I've got quite a few shirts that aren't replica shirts that have come from different things. The Fans for Diversity shirt, for instance, didn't have a sponsor on it. I got a brilliant shirt sent to me from a blog fan, which I think I put a post on. It was a concept shirt with Fawcett and Thorne on it. And again, I kind of like that, because by putting Fawcett and Thorne on it, he created a retro feeling top, because the Fawcett and Thorne dated the shirt. It delivered the idea and the aesthetic and the design style that he actually wanted. And I think maybe when you first see a shirt at the beginning of a season, you'll look at it and go, the sponsor ruins it. But actually within a season, the sponsor becomes as much intrinsically part of the design of the shirt as anything. I think when you look back to the NSUC shirt, there we go. Do you know what I mean? It was the title winning shirt, but it always sticks in my mind because of NSUC, because the sponsor defines the shirt. It's almost like giving the shirt a name, I think. So I just really wanted to get that off my chest a little bit. And it's all taste. Football shirts is all taste. And in recent years, the football shirt has become something that's kind of exploded, isn't it? You get excellent outlets like the Kitsman, for instance, that kind of create a whole science around football shirts. And I wonder how many of us these days look at some of the shirts that go on there and think, if only I had decorated that, or if only I had given that away. I mean, I used to collect football shirts as a teenager because, that was what I wore all the time. And I had like a West Ham 1991 away, which was the back windows. Fly on the screen. I had the last Yugoslavia shirt, an Adidas blue Yugoslavia shirt. I had a Newcastle Brown Ale with the Newcastle Blue Star sponsor. I had the McEwen's Blackburn one. I think if I kept those, I wouldn't wear them now, but guys, stick them on eBay, it makes more fortune. I mean, I remember going on eBay and buying, it was a god awful shirt. It was one of the Alston shirts, but it was the one where the red kind of went to a pink and then came back out the other side, something like 2000 to 2001. Got it on eBay for 99p. Football shirts were worth nothing. Now, you'd barely get any football shirt at all for 35 quid. They're one of these unique things that kind of, you buy them, they lose value for a couple of years and then shoot up in value. So like if somebody said to you now, oh, do you want to buy the Lincoln away kit from 3 years ago, you might think, yeah, it'd be worth a tenner or something like that. I want to buy the Lincoln away kit from 15 years ago, and all of a sudden it's gone up in value. It's really, really strange. Not a lot of things do that. They turn into classics very quickly. Right, so let's have a look. Kate Jackson, morning, Gary. Any news on the third kit? I think that's what the mute or the block button is for. Robert Clark, morning, Gary. Morning, my friend. Colin Green, morning, mate. So morning, Gary. Always love a black away strip. The pinstripes are excellent. Great to see Back to Mono get some publicity too. Quality record shop. Yeah, do you know what? I really like that. And I only found out that that was happening on Thursday, I think, of last week. Obviously, you know, I went to the club and asked about the away. Well, I was kind of around. Went to speak to someone at the club and asked about the away kit. Doing exactly what I was getting annoyed at people for doing. And they were saying, well, you know, the player issue ones are here. We're waiting for the other ones to come. We're hopefully going to time the launch ahead of the Portsmouth game. And we've got Back to Mono involved. I remember hearing that, thinking, wow, sure what? Getting Back to Mono involved is an absolutely superb idea. Brilliant idea. And yeah, it was good. It was a shame not to see Jim in the video, but nice to see the grills and kind of celebrating that Lincoln-ness. And I think that's something that Lincoln has always had a problem with doing in the past. You know, we kind of go, what can we celebrate? The cathedral, the imp. That's about it. Whereas I think now with the media team and the commercial team, think a lot deeper about what it is to be Lincoln, what it means to be Lincoln. And you know, to pick Back to Mono, which, you know, in the old days was Sonic Sounds, was, in my eyes, a masterstroke. And I'm sure it was tied into the fact that the Rills are, you know, a fairly high profile band, and you know, they're from Lincoln as well. But I think that it was just one of those moves that fans, certainly like myself and Colin, of a certain age, who remember going to Sonic Sounds, who remember Jim as part of our youth, kind of buying our records and our CDs before you could get stuff on Spotify and rushing home to put them on. He was like a gateway to new music. He was like a gateway to culture almost. And always remember kind of getting money. I used to work at a chip shop as a chip rumbler. I remember like getting my money, getting on the bus to go to Lincoln with my mate Craig Rowson, and you know, first port of call Sonic Sounds. And we'd normally go in there, come out, and it's like, oh, we've got enough money from McDonald's, and then we're going home. And yeah, it was just really nice to see the building and the shop kind of honoured in that way. Pete Summers, what have Lincoln got against stripes on the rear of the shirts? Honesty shout. I don't think they've got anything against it. I think that from a design point of view, for reading shirt numbers, shirt names, sponsors, things like that, I think that it's thought that a plain back is better. It's easier to display those sorts of things. That's my understanding of it. We've had stripes on the back in the past, and people have said, oh, it makes the numbers hard to read. You're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. Sam Kendall, morning guys. Morning Sam, I hope you're well. Hope you got rid of that wind. I like this shirt. Logo doesn't bother me. It is what it is. We can't turn down sponsors. Correct. Andy Blackburn, morning guys. I really like the new shirt. Me too. Dave Phillips, I want it. Take my money, take it. Yeah, I think that's about right, Dave. I think that's more or less spot on. Kate, last year we had people moaning we had no sponsor on the shirt. Now they're moaning we do. Can't win. I think the fact is you can't please everybody all the time. And in football, people are quicker to criticise than they are to praise, because if you praise, it's not a very British thing to do, is it? You know, we're a nation of kind of miserable bastards, aren't we? And I remember, even takes me back to being at school, and funnily enough, I'm sure it was a conversation we had on the bus heading in to Sonic Sounds, talking about Prince Nazim Hamed at the time. Stick with me on this. And like, he was winning and he was brilliant, and he knew he was brilliant, and he was cocky, and everybody hated him. Why does everybody hate this man? He's a winner. Why hide your light under a bushel? Why not celebrate that kind of thing? And then, you know, when he gets beat, it's always not good enough, because people love to say that. You know, we love to criticize. Joe Walsh, I'm told, is potentially edging closer to fitness, but the first thing people say is not brilliant, it'll be nice to have Joe back, wish him all the best, all that. It's, you know, don't hurt yourself here, don't do that. I did it when he appeared in the club photo. I've forgotten what he looks like. That's what we do, isn't it? we want to moan. And the people moaning about not having a sponsor last season and not the same people moaning about having a sponsor this season. It's just people see it and they want to have that kind of negative opinion. Rob Clark, love the new away kit. I'll wear it proudly and raised in front of my codhead mates. Yeah, it's a nice kit. I shall wait. I've got birthday and Christmas in close proximity, so it's always good to give my dad some ideas. Dad, if you're watching, I think probably away kit for birthday, don't you? Yeah, probably. Pete Summers, sponsorless shirts mean lower income. Would people be happy to pay a higher ticket price to offset that? No, is the answer. Elliot Taylor, I love the design. I would like to have seen the sponsor's logo in all white, though green and red clash. Yeah, you say that, but actually, I'm not sure they do. I always had a soft spot for the Portugal kit, which obviously has some green and some red on it. I seem to remember it was one of the sticker albums, might have been '86 World Cup, something like that. Seeing the Portugal kit and thinking, you know, wow, that's unique. That's not been done before. That red and green. So I'm not sure it clashes in my opinion, and it's all opinion of it. I'm not sure it clashes in the small amount that it's in. Maybe that is what puts that kind of cityscape, city at night kind of thought in my mind, because you get different coloured lights in the city at night. I don't know. It is what it is. Chris Graham, morning Gary, brilliant away shirt. Looks highly likely we'll be on the way to Germany. One will be on the way to Germany soon. Yeah, I would imagine that they will be flying out all over the world very soon. Mr. Barlow, as an Inter fan, I had a hard time with red and black. It's a smart design though, and I'm sure it will sell well. Yeah, it's funny that, isn't it? Because I think if we'd done like a black and white, I think that people would have a hard time with it. I think people sometimes have a hard time with a yellow away kit because of Mansfield, or a blue away kit because of Peterborough. So you have got to, you know, it's tough I think from a design perspective, to get a colour that people don't associate with another club, and you know, red and black isn't a particularly rival club. I understand it's got that that feel for you, but I think it's hard to kind of get that connection and get a nice shirt without doing something that's already kind of connected to another team. Yeah, it's tough. It's interesting. Blake Hutchinson, I think that's a great design. Shame the black charcoal stripes are not on the back. Yeah, again, I think that's what Pete said, and you know, probably in this instance, they could have been on the back, you know, because I think there's a low enough contrast there to be able to have names and numbers on without it looking too bad. But you know, again, that's picking faults with what I think is a great shirt. Reece Marshall, baffles me that people are going on like having a sponsor is a new thing. How many times do you describe an whole shirt to a mate? Start by saying who the sponsor was. Yeah, I've made that point, mate. Exactly that point. I think both kits are great and I've purchased both. I think it's the strongest pair of kits, and the third kit obviously will come out and will either kind of strengthen that or not. But I think it's the strongest pair of kits that, in my mind, we've ever had, where the home kit and the away kit are both. Poof. I seem to remember the navy blue Alstom Siemens one in the Keith years. That was a pretty powerful combo. And a couple of years ago with the red with the white pinstripe, the kind of what I call the James Jones era. That season we had 3 great shirts that season, but the home kit I think that season was weaker than this season. But it's personal choice, isn't it? It's personal. It's kind of what you like and what you don't. Pete Summers, I bet you wish you had that Newcastle shirt with Centre Park sponsorship on. Worn once way in Europe because France had a ban on alcohol sponsors. Yeah, probably worth a fortune, small fortune. James Tippin says, repent and believe in the gospel. Okay. Yep. Oh, come to Christ and be saved. Fantastic. Well, it's better than going to Joe Anion, because he didn't save anything. Sonic Sounds was amazing. It's a shame it and many other great independent shops have disappeared off Lincoln's High Street. Technically haven't, Kate, because Sonic Sounds obviously is back to mono, basically. I mean, it's Jim, it's in the same building. You know, Sonic's more back to mono. I class as almost the same shop, just under a different brand, personally. Ben says all-timer. I think that may be trying to address me as old-timer, but I think it's a typo. Bloody love it. Sponsor is fine. Imagine the green was probably a compromise. Doesn't bother me, the green, to be honest. It's a little splash of green on the front. And I remember there was a shirt we had one year, which actually I thought was it was the TSM shirt the second year we were in the National League, and the TSM was blue and the shirt was red and white, and people complained. I really liked it. I really liked that contrast in the sponsor. And when Dawson wasn't as keen on last season's shirt with that sponsor, he wishes he had waited until one of the sponsors were on the front to buy it. I think you had to go in and have it printed on. Ben and I have even spoken about having our own Stacey West popped on. So there we go. Oh, there's a car around here. Just a minute, I'll put the dog on. Ryan Whelan, a lot of time what happens on the pitch defines the kit. Yeah, I'd agree with that. I'd agree with that because the NSOC kit isn't so bad, is it, retrospectively? Because you look back and it was the title winning kit, and the go-kart kit that we went down in actually wasn't a bad kit, but we went down in it, so you don't kind of hold it in that higher esteem. The 86, 87, 87, 88 probably, there was some crossover, I think, with the kits there, so we're both Fawcett and Thorn, so yeah, I get what your point. Yeah, Kate says all this talk about football shirts and debates over it. Could have been worse. We could have named a stand after a serial killer. If you haven't seen that, it's Southend United have named their West stand, and they were sponsored by local solicitors, which was Gilbert and Rose, and their stand is now called the Gilbert and Rose West stand. Ooh. Wow. Anyway, there we go. Ben Ward, purple would be a great shout. I absolutely love that purple kit we had in the early noughties. Yeah, which year was that? I know the one you mean. I think that was 1900. It was like a lilac, wasn't it? With, I think was it an Alston kit? And it was a light lilac and purple arms. I think purple might be a good shout for a third kit at some point. You never know. I can't actually remember what our third kit is this season. So look, that's been great. It's been nice just chatting kits with you. Apologies, there's no football talk today. Everything's a little bit quiet. For those who didn't see, we drew with Eastbourne the other night, but it was a Lincoln City 11. Had Jay Ben, Sean Rowan, Morgan Worsfeld, Greg played, Charlie Kendall played and scored because Charlie Kendall scores goals. So that was all very exciting. But I don't really expect anything major to happen between now and Saturday. And then obviously we're going down to Portsmouth. We're recording the podcast tonight. 1 second, Charlie, come here. We're recording the podcast tonight. So Charlie, do you want to say hello? There we go. Look, it's a bit hot for you, isn't it, boy? So keep an eye out for that. Leg caught. Well, I'm hoping we're recording it tonight. I haven't actually cleared that with Dan. But yeah, hopefully we'll have some chat there. We are not going to mention the DC in that podcast. It's too easy, too lazy. Lincoln and Portsmouth's not now about a manager who was here, the manager before this. No, not at all. So, and Dean Wagstaff, quick one. How's the leg going? Thanks for asking, mate. Still struggling with it, mate, actually. Yeah, still really sore when I get up in the morning. Don't think I'll be able to run on it at the minute. So I did have the lovely Churchills, Mark and Jane, bring me an exercise bike. I bought an exercise bike off them and brought that over. So I've got kind of 15 miles a day in on that just to try and stay a little bit fit because I've been comfort eating a little bit, which wasn't particularly good. And Stu Wells is a good lad. Let's get him. The kit's design is fine. It makes the awful material. It does my head. It makes it look cheap. I actually thought the home shirt, felt a little bit that way. But it's, it's tested for people to perform in, isn't it? I tried running in last year's home shirt once. It stuck to me. It was awful. Yeah, really surprising. And Pete Summers says he can't see the NSUP kit being reissued for a 20th anniversary of the title somehow. No, I can't remember the away kit that year. Was it the grey one with the black arms? That would probably be the one that they've released, I think. So, right. So, any final questions? I'm sat down now and chilled out. It's quite warm. The dog's chilled out in the shade. I don't really think I've got anything else to address. There's 39 of you. If anyone has any questions, put them in quickly now. I just talk a little bit. I was hypothetically talking about Tyler Walker yesterday. I wouldn't be expecting any move for Tyler Walker personally. If it did happen, I think that it might be later on in the transfer window, but I still firmly believe that that we'll be bringing a lone striker in. I think that most of our new signings will be loan signings, which is what I said last night. I did a Pompey podcast last night. Kind of said season started too early, and they were saying, are you going to sign defensive midfielder that you need? Are you going to sign this? Are you going to sign that? Like, I'm not really sure, to be honest. I don't think that the sort of player that I thought we were going to sign for the holding role is going to be available at this point of the season. And if they are, they're probably going to be expensive. And we're not a team that overspends on players. It just doesn't happen. So Kate says cake or death. I fancy cake, but that's part of why I'm having to cycle 15 miles. Let's have a look. Elliot Taylor, did you manage to get the blue Flindles away kit? I got the blue Flindles away kit. It was the blue Echo one that I wanted. and it was the same kit with the swirly design, but obviously it had the red echo, and I really liked that contrast between blue and red. Kind of reminded me a little bit of Barcelona. I never managed to get that shirt, unfortunately, and it's the only Lincoln City shirt that I've ever owned that I now don't have, and I don't know why it is. I don't know where it went, where it disappeared to. So really frustrating. Steve Dolan says, nice to see you without the hat, mate. Yeah, that's courtesy of Laura Harper in Louth. Fantastic hairdresser. Unfortunately, I still have bed hair, but yeah, got a haircut last night, so all good. Reese Marshall, any possible outgoings? Not heard much. Yeah, I'd be almost certain that there'll be some outgoings at some point. I would imagine loan players. I mean, I think when you look at the team, the Lincoln City 11 from the Eastbourne game, you'd look down there and think, well, if Charlie Kendall's not going to play 30 games coming off the bench for us, which is likely, be nice to get into a top end National League, lower end League Two side and see how he does. So, like I think I said yesterday, like Grimsby would be a great place for him if they've got somewhere to play him, or a Chesterfield or a Notts County where he could test himself. I think Lincoln fans would like to see him in the Football League. But I think also there's got to be a degree of realism, and if we want him to play 46 games next season at a decent level, at a decent team, playing at Chesterfield or Notts County, with the greatest respect to us, isn't that different to playing for us. You're playing in front of 8,000 on the big games, and okay, yeah, you've got some crappy away days and stuff like that. So yeah, that would be an option, I think. Depends on who we're bringing on loan as well. I think if we were to be looking at bringing in like another Brook Norton Coffee figure, a flying fullback with pace, it wouldn't surprise me if Jay Ben didn't go out on loan as well to get some senior experience. With Charlie Kendall, do you know what? Actually, I think somewhere like Mansfield might even be a decent pick for him, because teams are going to look at him and they're going to go, do you know what? He scored 30 odd goals or whatever last season in National League South. He can step up. So wouldn't surprise me. Right, that's me. I think I'm now in the house. You can see the fly paper. I'll move away from the fly paper. Fly genocide. That's what that is. Where is it? It's around there. Look. Fly genocide. Right, I shall disappear. James Bride just telling me he doesn't like the home shirt. It looks cheap and nasty up close, sort of material that bobbles worse than an Akindi first touch. I mean, that's some bobbling. Yeah, do you know what? Honest truth, I buy a home shirt and an away shirt to wear 2 or 3 times a year, and then I put it in a box to say I've got it. So I don't know how they perform. I never have a badge come off mine because they don't get washed often enough for that to happen. Thank you very much for watching. Doubtful there'll be a video tomorrow, but you never know. If there's any news, I might pick something up. But we'll get some more content on the site sooner rather than later. Thank you very much, Hibs fans. Enjoy your day. Goodbye.